The United States is considering sanctions against politicians and military leaders who impede Mali's civilian-led transition to democratic governance. It comes as mediators from the Economic Community of West African States met the senior military figures who carried out the country's second coup in less than a year. Mali's interim president, Ba Ndao, and Prime Minister, Mokhtar Ouen, have now officially been forced to resign. The pair have been detained since Monday evening at a military camp outside the capital, Bamako. The Ecowas team is led by the former Nigerian president, Goodluck Jonathan. It hopes to get the ousted president and prime minister released from the military detention as soon as possible.
There's cordial discussion going on, friendly discussion going on for the common interests of the people of Mali.
We're joined now by Paul EJIME, an African affairs expert. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Well, from all indication, events unfolding in the Sahel seem to show that the region may be coming unglued. First off, let's talk about this planned U.S. considering sanctions against politicians and military leaders who disrupt the 18-month transition period to restore full democracy. What are your thoughts? How effective do you think this sanctions will be?
That is what happens when you lose the initiative. Who should do well? ECOWAS is there on ground. There is AU. These are people that should talk about Mali, not the US. US is very far, even though it has the closest presence it has is just supporting the G5, that is the 5 Sahel countries. That is what is there. Otherwise, it is France that is actually neck deep in Mali, and not just Mali, but all its former colony, and then has to define its role, actually, because it's a case of blowing hot and cold. Well, this evening, the Security Council met at the instance of France and then maybe some African countries. What did they decide? It was that they should release those that are being held. But these are, throwing stones from very far. Those who should have any effect or impact on what is happening in Mali are the ECOWAS, the group. And so sanctions from America, I don't know how effective that is going to be, but would say that it is all part of the international pressure that can be brought to bear on the military to leave or at least go by the program that they have of 18 months. They have said they were going to conduct a referendum in October, and then in February next year, there will be the election. But the way things are going, remember that they had asked for 3 years originally, then 2 years, and then before they now changed to 18 months. It's likely that they will dilly-dally and then gain some time and then continue to exercise power because the region has allowed it, because the ECOWAS leadership has allowed it. They are not showing much muscle, like in the ECOWAS of the past, and then having the political will to tell France, put France and say, well, listen, you play a very key role. As we speak, there are 4,500 French troops in the north. Much of the north and about 2/3 of the country is not accessible by the regime in Bamako. And then there is the UN, 15,000 UN MINUSMA forces there. AU has a representative, and then ECOWAS now. So there is so much that is being done that is not effective. And it is that they have to now put their act together.
Okay, Paul. Now, when you look at what has just happened in Mali and you see the same kind of situation going on in Chad and in a few areas in Africa, the interest of the military, do you think that this military incursion into government in Mali is going to be something that will set them back by a few years? And how do you see it affecting other parts of Africa?
you made the point that what is happening there, others could learn from it. And that is why you need to take a very tough measure to tell them that you can't continue. But where you now have what seems like a double standard, remember that a similar thing happened in Chad. And what happened? It was a pat on the back, as it were, where the president died and the son took over. What did they do? They say, okay, they have also talked about when they are going to this transition. So it's a case of take power, announce, when you are going to hand over, and then everybody comes behind you, or there are cases of, some noises here and there. This is not being effective. I think the zero tolerance for the seizure of power by any means other than constitutional means should not be allowed. And you have to say that both in words and in action. Ecowas, for instance, is not showing that in action. Look at some of the elections that have been conducted. And that is where the problem comes. When elections are not credible, when they are not transparent, and somebody takes up power or tries to, tinker with the constitution to change it and get 3 terms and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the population is suffering. Malians are suffering not just economically. There is unemployment, insecurity is there, and bombing and every now and then. So, and then there is no, there are no social services.
Yes.
No hospital. No
so
road.
true, Paul. Yeah,
thank you
very
very
much.
These are the issues.
Yes, yeah, those are the issues. You're absolutely spot on. Thank you very much, Paul EJIME, African Affairs Analyst. Thanks for joining us tonight.